Trump demands Labor stats chief fired after weak July jobs report. Tariffs, Fed impact, explained. In a surprising turn of events, President Trump has called for the dismissal of a senior Labor Department official, following a notable decline in the job market during July. Recent data, released by the Labor Department, indicates that the U.S. labor market experienced significant weakness in the spring and early summer months, with employers adding far fewer jobs than previously reported. The job market took a sharp downturn as President Trump's tariffs began to impact the economy, prompting him to demand the firing of Erika McEntarfer, the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, which is responsible for publishing the jobs report. In July, U.S. employers added a mere 73,000 jobs, a stark contrast to earlier expectations, and the unemployment rate ticked up to 4.2%. Shortly after the report was released, Trump took to social media to voice his unfounded claims that the job numbers were rigged to portray Republicans, including himself, in a negative light. He further announced his intention to replace McEntarfer, who was appointed by former President Joe Biden, stating, "She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. Important numbers like this must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purposes." Concerns have been raised by data experts regarding the reliability of U.S. government statistics during Trump's administration, which has seen cuts to positions and funding for statistical agencies. Although McEntarfer's term was not scheduled to end until early 2000, many federal employees have opted for buyouts but remain counted as employed until the end of September. Manufacturing also faced challenges, with factories shedding 11,000 jobs in July. Despite the expectation that domestic manufacturers would benefit from Trump's trade policies, factory managers have expressed frustration over the uncertainty surrounding import taxes, which has led to decreased orders and overall activity. Since April, a 10% tax has been imposed on nearly all U.S. imports, with additional tariffs set to take effect soon. One factory manager, who chose to remain anonymous, shared their concerns in a recent survey, stating, "These tariff wars are beginning to wear us out. There is zero clarity about the future, and it's been a difficult few months trying to figure out where everything is going to land and the impact on our business. So far, tremendous and unexpected costs have been incurred." Interestingly, the unemployment rate rose in July even as nearly 40,000 individuals exited the workforce. The proportion of adults either working or seeking employment has decreased by 0.5% over the past year, with a more pronounced decline among immigrants, which may be complicating efforts for employers to fill available positions. Jed Kolko, a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, remarked, "I think it's mostly a labor supply story. When you look sector by sector, the significant slowdown in employment this year is primarily in federal government jobs, as well as in sectors heavily reliant on immigrants, such as construction, home health aides, and hospitality. Despite the hiring slowdown, wages have continued to rise, with average wages in July increasing by 3.9% compared to the previous year, likely outpacing inflation. The current job market weakness is expected to intensify calls for the Federal Reserve to consider lowering interest rates at its upcoming policy meeting in September. Earlier this week, the central bank opted to maintain steady rates, citing concerns that rising tariffs could further increase prices. Trump has been vocal in his criticism of the Fed and its chair, Jerome Powell, for not reducing interest rates sooner. However, he will soon have the opportunity to appoint a new member to the Fed's governing board, as Adriana Kugler, who has served as a Fed governor for nearly 2 years, announced her resignation to return to Georgetown University as a professor this fall. This evolving situation raises important questions about the future of the U.S. labor market and the potential implications of political decisions on economic data. What are your thoughts on the integrity of labor statistics and the impact of tariffs on job growth? Share your opinions in the comments below. Republican senators react to Trump's firing of Labor Department official. A sudden firing, a storm of backlash, and a question that strikes at the heart of democracy. Can we trust the numbers if the messenger is silenced? President Donald Trump's abrupt dismissal of Erika McEntarfer, head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, just hours after the July jobs report was released, has ignited a firestorm of criticism, even from within his own party. But here's where it gets controversial. The jobs report revealed that the U.S. labor market had been significantly weaker than previously believed. Trump, without presenting any evidence, claimed the figures were phony and accused McEntarfer of manipulating data to benefit former Vice President Kamala Harris ahead of the election. This accusation, paired with the timing of the firing, has raised serious concerns about political interference in what is supposed to be an impartial statistical agency. Several Republican senators have voiced discomfort with the move. Senator Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming emphasized that if the data is flawed, the public deserves transparency, but firing the commissioner before verifying any inaccuracies is, in her words, kind of impetuous. She added, if the numbers are correct and the president simply doesn't like them, that's a problem. It's not the statistician's fault if reality doesn't match expectations. Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina didn't mince words either. If she was fired just because someone didn't like the numbers, they ought to grow up, he said. Tillis, who recently Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska echoed this sentiment, stating bluntly, I can't trust the job numbers. And that's the problem. Firing people only deepens that mistrust. And this is the part most people miss. It's not just Republicans who are alarmed. Democratic leaders have condemned the firing in even stronger terms. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer accused Trump of behaving like an authoritarian, while Senator Bernie Sanders called the move the sign of an authoritarian type, warning that it erodes public confidence in government data. Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii went further, describing the dismissal as the stuff of fascist dictatorships. Even William Beach, Trump's own appointee and former BLS commissioner, criticized the decision on social media, calling it totally groundless and a dangerous precedent. He co-signed a statement from the Friends of the Bureau of Labor Statistics defending McEntarfer's integrity and the Bureau's rigorous, decentralized methodology designed to prevent political meddling. The statement emphasized that the BLS revises employment estimates monthly using more accurate data as it becomes available, and that the agency operates independently to ensure the reliability of its reports. So here's the big question. Should any president have the power to dismiss a statistician over unfavorable data? Is this a necessary check on government accountability or a dangerous step toward politicizing facts? Drop your thoughts below. Do you agree with the senators who are pushing back, or do you think Trump was justified in his decision?